The courtroom was silent, save for the deep, resonant hum of the High Tribunal's energy field. Hundreds of alien species watched, their eyes locked on a single figure in the center of the chamber. A human. Jake Henderson stood there, arms crossed, expression unreadable. The Zentari warlords loomed over him, their biomechanical armor pulsing with raw energy. They had subjugated entire civilizations without a fight. And yet, this one man stood there, completely unshaken. Warlord Xyveth clicked his mandibles. Human. Do you comprehend your situation? Jake shrugged. You called me here, pal. Not my fault you're scared of a guy in cargo pants. A murmur rippled through the crowd. The tribunal's grand speaker leaned forward. Scared? Insolence. We do not fear you, human. We seek to understand why you, an unmodified, unimproved organic, remain fearless. Jake exhaled. He had seen this play out before. Aliens, so wrapped up in their hierarchical nonsense, trying to figure out what made humans tick. He could have given them a real answer, something about stubbornness, adrenaline, or sheer dumb luck. But he wasn't in the mood for a history lesson. Maybe I'm just built different, he said, smirking. A gasp echoed through the chamber. The Zentari warlord stiffened. Built different? The phrase rolled through their translation algorithms, but no sufficient explanation came forth. A Zentari scholar scribbled furiously on a data pad. Xyvetha's voice deepened. Human. We have interrogated your kind. They break under pressure. Yet you stand tall. Jake blinked. You mean, literally? Yeah, I tend to do that. Kneeling's not my thing. The warlords exchanged glances. Their society thrived on dominance. Kneeling was submission. To refuse was to challenge. The grand speaker studied him. You hold no weapons. No augmentations. No psionic affinity. And yet you hold power. How? Jake looked down at his hands. I mean, I do hold power, in a way. He clenched his fingers into a fist. More furious scribbling from the scholars. The Zentari elite watched, eyes widened. He holds power with his bare hands, one muttered. An internalized energy system? Another gasped. Perhaps his strength is derived from an unknown energy field, one that activates upon demand. Xyveth slammed a fist onto the podium. Enough speculation. We will test his power. If he refuses to kneel, then let him prove why he stands. The chamber erupted in agreement. Jake scratched his head. I feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding happening here, but hey, I like a good challenge. A new voice cut through the air, sultry, commanding. Then you accept? The crowd parted. A towering figure approached, hips swaying with deliberate grace. Zavara the Unbroken, feared conqueror of 12 star systems, her silver armor reflecting the glow of the tribunal chamber. Jake whistled. Damn. Now that's a woman who could break me in half. The Zentari misheard. Break him in half? Xyveth whispered. By the void, even he acknowledges her power. Zavara smirked. I see you recognize my strength, human. But words mean nothing. Show me what you are capable of. Jake raised an eyebrow. I mean, I usually like a little dinner first, but sure. Gasps. He requires sustenance before exertion? The scholars noted. Perhaps the power must be replenished beforehand. Zavara stepped forward, voice a purr. I do not offer challenges lightly. If you survive, you may even earn a place at my side. Jake grinned. Lady, I don't even know what game we're playing, but I'm already winning. The tribunal's energy fields pulsed. The challenge had been accepted. And Jake still had no idea what the hell was happening. Zavara led the way, her armor clinging to her like a second skin, the metallic plates shifting with every confident step. The chamber they entered was massive, its walls adorned with battle trophies, shattered weapons, scorched banners, and what looked like the remains of a throne made from the fused bones of some poor bastard who lost whatever game they were playing. Jake took it all in, hands in his pockets, chewing on the inside of his cheek to keep from laughing. The Zentari thought this was some kind of ultimate test of power. The way they stared at him, as if waiting for him to reveal some hidden strength, only made it funnier. Zavara stopped at the center, turning to face him with a slow, deliberate motion. The air around her seemed to hum, her presence radiating authority. The room grew silent. "You will demonstrate why you stand fearless." Jake cracked his neck. "You want me to stand here and look intimidating? Because trust me, I can do that all day." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "He can last an entire cycle without rest?" Zavara tilted her head. "No. This will be a battle of endurance, of skill, of control. The challenge is one of dominance." Jake's lips twitched. "You know, you keep throwing that word around, and I'm starting to think this isn't the kind of fight I was expecting." She took a step closer, the tension between them thick enough to cut with a blade. "You fear nothing. You do not bow. You do not break. I must know if you can withstand me." Jake exhaled slowly, dragging a hand down his face. "All right, lady, I don't know what weird warrior foreplay this is, but let's get one thing straight. I'm not gonna tap out just because you talk a big game." The crowd gasped. Asterisk, he refuses to surrender? He intends to endure the full extent of her trial? Asterisk. Zavara's eyes gleamed. "Then let us begin." A Zentari attendant brought forth a tray carrying 2 small obsidian vials. Zavara took one, tossing it back without hesitation. Her muscles flexed, the energy coursing through her visible beneath her armor. She gestured for Jake to take the second. He picked it up, eyeing the contents. "This isn't like gonna kill me, is it? It will push your limits." Jake shrugged. "So a bad space tequila." He popped the cork and downed the shot. Heat exploded in his veins. His vision sharpened, every sound in the room amplifying. He clenched his fists as a surge of raw energy rolled through him. His pulse pounded, but he stayed standing. The Zentari murmured in awe. Asterisk, no hesitation. No faltering. He takes the elixir and remains upright. "What is he?" Asterisk. Zavara circled him, her voice low. "Most beings crumble beneath the effects. Yet you remain unshaken." Jake rolled his shoulders, exhaling through his nose. "I've had stronger drinks at a Terran bachelor party." A scholar nearly collapsed. Asterisk, bachelor party? A prelude to selecting a mate. Asterisk. Zavara's smirk deepened. "Perhaps I have finally met my match." Jake raised an eyebrow. "You flirting with me or challenging me? 'Cause I gotta be honest, I'm not entirely sure at this point." She lunged. Jake sidestepped, narrowly dodging her strike. She moved like lightning, her strength undeniable, but Jake had spent years in bars full of angry mercs. He knew how to duck. Zavara grinned. "Fast." Jake smirked. "You have no idea." The audience gasped. He admits his speed rivals hers? Zavara advanced, each movement a test, each strike controlled, measured. But no matter how she pressed, he met her step for step, dodging, countering, until their dance became a blur of motion. Then, in a move so unexpected it left the audience breathless, Jake caught her wrist mid-strike. The chamber fell into stunned silence. He dares restrain her? Zavara's lips parted slightly, eyes flickering with something unreadable. Jake leaned in just enough to let his voice drop. "I'm starting to think you enjoy this." Her fingers twitched against his grip, but she didn't pull away. Instead, she let out a slow exhale. "Few have ever lasted this long against me." Jake grinned. "Lady, I could do this all night." The arena erupted into chaos. The chamber still buzzed with stunned whispers, the weight of what just happened settling over the gathered spectators. Zavara stood before him, flexing her wrist where he had caught it, eyes dark with something unreadable. Not anger. Not frustration. Something far more dangerous. "You are an enigma," she murmured, rolling her shoulders. "I expected brute force. Desperation. Yet you remained composed. Controlled." Jake chuckled, shaking out his hands. "Lady, I've dodged bar brawls, tax collectors, and 3 separate ex-girlfriends. You're gonna have to try harder than that. The Zentari warlords whispered furiously among themselves. Asterisk. His power is not in raw strength. It is in his ability to evade, to endure, to outlast. Asterisk. One of the scholars, eyes wide with revelation, turned to the tribunal. Asterisk. He wields a different kind of dominance, one that requires no weapons, no enhancements, only sheer, unwavering defiance. Asterisk. Jake, blissfully unaware of the philosophical crisis unfolding around him, crossed his arms. So, we done here, or you got more tests lined up? Zavara exhaled slowly. There is one final trial. A test of endurance. Of willpower. Another murmur rippled through the crowd. A test that would measure the depth of his resilience? The potential was staggering. If he could withstand her most grueling challenge, it would confirm beyond doubt this human's power was limitless. Zavara turned, gesturing to a set of double doors that hissed open. The moment they did, a wave of thick, intoxicating fragrance filled the air. The lights inside were low, flickering, casting deep shadows. Jake blinked. So, what exactly am I walking into? Zavara's lips curled. The Chamber of Fortitude. One of the attendants gasped. The longest recorded survival inside is 26 cycles. Jake scratched his head. Cycles? Like hours? Days? An elder corrected solemnly. Jake let out a low whistle. Well, now I have to see what's inside. Zavara turned to face him fully. If you enter, you cannot leave until the trial is complete. Jake shrugged. I've made worse decisions. The room fell silent as he stepped inside. Heat wrapped around him immediately, the scent thick and heady. Plush seating lined the walls, and in the center, a single platform bathed in soft crimson light. The doors sealed behind him with a resounding thunk. Jake took one look around and sighed. Oh. This is definitely not a fight chamber. Zavara stood at the entrance, watching him, arms crossed. To endure here is to resist the most primal instincts. To withstand temptation. Distraction. Desire. Jake tilted his head. So, let me get this straight. Your test of endurance is sitting in a really nice room, doing nothing? A slow smirk spread across her lips. Exactly. Jake exhaled through his nose, nodding. You people really don't know how humans work, do you? The tribunal watched from the monitors, eager, waiting for the moment his will would crack. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Zavara, still standing at the entrance, observed him closely. He sat there, one leg draped over his knee, completely at ease. The scholars furiously scribbled notes. Asterisk. His discipline is beyond comprehension. Even the strongest warriors falter within moments, yet he remains unshaken. Asterisk. One of the warlords clenched his fists. Asterisk. It is worse than we feared. He is choosing to hold back. If he ever decided to unleash his full power. Asterisk. Another hour. Another. Zavara finally stepped forward, eyes narrowing. You remained composed. Jake gave a lazy grin. Lady, you locked me in a fancy lounge and told me to relax. I could do this for days. A stunned silence followed. And just like that, the Zentari realized the truth. Humans were the most terrifying species in the galaxy. The tribunal chamber was in chaos. The warlords murmured in disbelief. The scholars scrawled notes with shaking hands. The attendants stole glances at each other, as if afraid to voice what they were all thinking. The human had passed every trial. Without struggle. Without breaking a sweat. Jake stretched, rolling his shoulders. Well, this was fun. Can I go now, or do I have to sign some paperwork first? Zavara hadn't moved from where she stood, watching him with unreadable intensity. For the first time in her life, she was uncertain. She had challenged warriors, tyrants, conquerors, but none had faced her tests with such effortless defiance. You are beyond comprehension, she finally said. You have not fought. You have not yielded. You have simply been, And that has undone everything we thought we understood about power. Jake sighed. Lady, you're overthinking it. It's not some big secret. Humans just don't like being told what to do. A warlord shuddered. Asterisk. It's worse than we feared. He is not fearless because he is strong. He is fearless because he simply refuses to acknowledge fear as an option. Asterisk. Another slammed a fist into the table. Asterisk. If such beings cannot be intimidated, they cannot be controlled. Asterisk. A scholar scribbled frantically. Asterisk. We assumed strength was measured by force, but what if it is measured by sheer unwillingness to submit? What if this is their true power? Asterisk. Jake rubbed his temples. Okay, I feel like you're all having a moment here, and I'm just along for the ride, so let's wrap this up. The Grand Speaker stood, raising a clawed hand. The chamber fell silent. His voice, when he spoke, was grave. It is decided. The human is too dangerous to be left unchecked. He is to be contained. Now. The warlords tensed. The guards gripped their weapons. The air crackled with tension. Jake blinked. Wait, what? Zavara's head snapped toward the tribunal. You would imprison him? After he has done nothing but face the challenges you demanded of him? The Grand Speaker's gaze was cold. He has shown us that he is beyond our control. That is enough. Jake sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. You know, this is exactly why I don't do intergalactic politics. Always ends up with somebody trying to lock me up. The first guard lunged. Jake moved before he even thought about it. One step. One twist. A sharp crack. The guard collapsed. Unconscious. Silence. The tribunal stared in horror. Zavara's lips parted slightly. He had barely moved. No effort. No hesitation. Just action. Jake shook his head. I was really hoping to get out of here without punching anybody. The remaining guards hesitated, their weapons wavering. Zavara took a slow step forward. You believe he must be contained because you fear what he might do? The Grand Speaker's expression darkened. He is a threat to the natural order. Zavara exhaled. Then, to Jake's absolute surprise, she turned to face the tribunal fully and dropped to one knee. A stunned gasp echoed through the chamber. The Grand Speaker stiffened. What is the meaning of this? Zavara's voice was steady. I acknowledge the human strength. His power is undeniable. And I submit to it. The warlords recoiled. The scholars nearly collapsed. Asterisk Zavara the Unbroken. The Undefeated. The legend. Bending the knee to a human. Asterisk. Jake groaned. Oh, come on! The chamber was in uproar. The Zentari ranks fractured before their eyes. Some warlords hesitated, watching. Others clenched their fists, unwilling to accept what was happening. The Grand Speaker's voice was sharp. You disgrace your lineage, Zavara. She looked up, eyes gleaming. No. I finally understand it. The tension snapped. Half the warlords surged forward. The other half hesitated. Jake ran a hand down his face. I swear, I didn't come here to start a civil war. Zavara's lips curled. Then you must leave. Now. Jake exhaled. You got a back door in this place? She nodded. Then, with a smirk, she grabbed his wrist and pulled him forward. Try to keep up, human. Jake laughed as they bolted through the chaos. Lady, you have no idea what you've just signed up for. Behind them, the galaxy changed forever.